tell you a secret? I get scared sometimes. Can you imagine that? David Murray, an adult, telling you that he gets scared sometimes. Sometimes he feels nervous. And I'll be honest, standing here is a bit scary. It really is. Because it's a bit of a risk. Because even though I've practiced and prepared, and I've had the comb and the brush in front of the mirror at home practicing, but the thing is, you never really know how your speech is going to turn out until you stand up, step forward and start speaking. And I know what I'm like. Because if I allow my thoughts to take over, my focus can be taken away from my words, taken away from my speech, and it can land on all the things that I imagine it will go wrong with it. And I imagine a lot because I'm scared. I imagine that I might forget my words. I imagine that I might get stage fright and freeze. I even imagined that I wouldn't get here today because of the beast from the east. And do you know what was even worse than that? That I'd be here and no, you wouldn't be here because you couldn't get here because of the snow. But I'm glad that you are, and I'm glad that I am too. Because it is a bit scary. And I've noticed in my life, there's been a number of things that have been quite scary. I don't know about you. I've found change scary, new home, relationships. I've found making important decisions scary, left or right, never really knowing what to do. And I've found doing things for the first time quite scary, like I'm doing now. And as scary sounding as those things can be to me, you never know. You can never know what's on the other side of any scary thing until you take that risk, until you embrace that uncertainty, until you take that step into the unknown and discover the truth for yourself of what's on the other side. You can't possibly know unless you do that. So it is a bit scary up here. But when I was younger and at school, 12 years of age, I used to feel a bit scared sometimes too. I was a scared little boy. Because there was a scary school teacher who growled at me like a giant grizzly bear. There were scary stories of ghosts and ghouls that adults would love to share. And there was a scary neighbour's dog who would always shine his teeth at me and stare. Always do that. But as scary sounding as some of those things were to a boy of 12 years of age, there was nothing that filled me with more dread, more anxiety and more fear than that monster. That monster that was going to appear at the end of the school year. And do you know what it was? The end of year disco. The end of year disco. And guess what the scary part was? Because who doesn't love a disco? But the scary part was the part that filled me with fear. There was an unwritten rule that I had to ask a girl from my school year to go with me. And when I was this tall at 12 years of age, I was not a confident boy. I really wasn't. So there was no way in the world I would ever have the courage to go up to a girl and ask her to go to the disco with me. I couldn't do it. But the sad thing was, there was a girl I liked. Her name was Tara. I thought she was so beautiful. But in my day-to-day life at school, I had never found the courage just to say hello to her. So how could I now go up to her and ask her to go to the disco with me? And of course, there's so many reasons not to, isn't there? I might discover the truth that she's going with somebody else. I might discover the truth that she doesn't like me. And I might discover the truth that she will say no. I was so sure of that. And day after day went by, and I could never find the courage to take that risk, embrace the uncertainty, and take that step into the unknown and ask her, because I was afraid. And I recall it being a week before the disco, and I was sat in the school canteen. There was this aroma of stew and custard filling the air as children were eating their dinners. And suddenly, from nowhere, my only chance suddenly appeared before me. Tara had finished her meal and was walking towards my table. I was like frozen in my chair, frozen with fear, so scared. What was I going to do? Should I take the risk? But I'm afraid. And she started stepping closer and closer towards me. My heart was pounding deep within my chest. Bang, bang, bang it was going. And do you know what it was doing? It was counting me down towards my doom. Yes. You were telling me, you're doomed, David. Because if I ask her and she says no, my friends are going to laugh at me. and my whole world's going to crash in on itself. And she was walking closer and closer towards me, and I was afraid. I wanted to take that risk, but I was afraid. I was afraid. And a few years ago, I was afraid too. Because a few years ago, I felt truly lost. As the relationship came to an end, I opened my eyes to realize everything that was wrong with my life. And it seemed to be a lot at the time. I felt like I was alone. I felt like I had no one to turn to. I felt that I had lost everything at that time in my life. And it was as if I was on a raft of my own, drifting out to sea, just floating out on my own. And as I continued to drift alone, a friend reached out his hand and invited me to go walking in Spain with him. And it sounded like a perfect remedy for somebody who was lost like I was, because there was a single path to follow through the Spanish mountains. My own yellow brick road. My own yellow brick road to walk on. So I agreed to go, reluctantly, but I agreed to go. And each morning I was sat out into the Spanish sun to walk from village to village to village, armed only with a backpack, a bottle of water, and boots to keep me company. And as I walked each and every day, my thoughts had always turned to all the things that I had lost, because it felt like I had lost everything. But each day as I continued to walk, I noticed that the thing that weighed upon me most heavily was not something that I'd lost, but something that I still had. It was my job. I realised that the long hours and the stress had stripped away my passion and zest for life. I'd lost all my kind of faith in myself. And I realised what I needed to do was I needed to resign so that I could give myself some time to rediscover my passions for music, guitar, friends, and life itself. And that was probably the only way I was ever going to be happy again. And there were so many reasons not to resign, weren't there? I might never get another job. Even if I resign, I might not still be happy. I simply do not have the courage to take that risk. And on my last day of walking, the very last day, before I set out into the sunshine to get to the final village, I made a small promise to myself that by the time I reached my destination that day, I was going to have decided what I was going to do. But the truth is I could not, because I did not have the courage to take that risk, embrace that uncertainty and take that step into the unknown and resign, because I was afraid. So as I got into the final town that day, my head low and my heart full of despair, something caught my eye in the shop window. It was a music shop. A guitar sat in the window. And there was a big bright sign above it saying, "Stop dreaming and start playing. Stop dreaming and start playing." I kind of knew what I needed to do at that point, but I was afraid. Because taking a risk is scary, isn't it? Having the courage to embrace uncertainty where the outcome is unknown is scary. But I believe the truth is, if we can learn to accept our fears and embrace uncertainty, we will actually find a place where we can grow in confidence. If we never take a risk as children, we would have never discovered our ability to walk. If we never take a risk, we would never discover the warm embrace of falling in love. If we never take a risk, we would probably never reveal our true potential in life. And I'll admit, in life, there might be many things that we find scary sometimes, like exams we need to take, decisions we need to make, or a fork in the road presenting a new path, or a new opportunity for us to take. But if we learn that it's okay if that thing is scary, and if we can learn to accept our fears and actually embrace uncertainty, we will discover the truth that we are more powerful than we realise. We just need to take that risk. We just need to embrace that uncertainty and take that step into the unknown. And we will discover the truth that we will succeed. And that's why it makes sense to me now. Because I stood in that Spanish village. I was staring at that sign that said, "Stop dreaming and start playing." It was calling to me, "Stop dreaming and start playing." I knew that the easy path is to do nothing, isn't it? But if I wanted to discover the truth, I was going to have to stop dreaming about the life I wanted and start playing for it. So I needed to take that risk, embrace that uncertainty, and take that step into the unknown. So when I returned to London the very next day, I did resign from my job. I did. I took some time out to rediscover my passions for music, guitar, and life itself. And then just a few years later, I discovered myself standing here right now, telling you a story about this scared little boy, this version of me when I was 12 years of age. Frightened, because Tara was going to say no to me, wasn't she? Because I wasn't confident. And she was walking closer towards me, my heart was counting me down towards my doom, and I was afraid. And the truth is, if I do nothing, that's the easy way out, isn't it? If I want to discover the truth of what I could do, what might happen, or what could be, I was going to have to take that risk, embrace the uncertainty, and take that step into the unknown and ask her. So with all the courage my little legs could muster, I thrust myself up out of the chair. I reached into my pocket for a gift I bought for Tara, hoping that might give me confidence to ask. Tara saw me, stopped, and time froze. It felt like it froze for ages. I held out the gift and said, Tara, I'm David, would you like to go to the disco with me? Tara looked back at me, held out her hand, and said, yes, David, I would like that. Thank you.